There's no point standing around. We'll only be showered by more boulders. Ready your horses on the double.
Be honest. Are all of us riding to our deaths?
Yes, we are.
And since we're dying anyway, you're saying that it's better if we at least die fighting?
I am.
But wait, if we'll die anyway, then who cares what we do? We could just disobey your orders, and it wouldn't mean a thing, would it?
No.
Yes, you're precisely right. Everything that you thought had meaning, every hope, dream, or moment of happiness, none of it matters as you lie bleeding out on the battlefield. None of it changes what a speeding rock does to a body. We all die. But does that mean our lives are meaningless? Does that mean that there was no point in our being born? Would you say that of our slain comrades? What about their lives? Were they meaningless? They were not! Their memory serves as an example to us all! The courageous fallen, the anguished fallen, their lives have meaning because we, the living, refuse to forget them! And as we ride to certain death, we trust our successors to do the same for us! Because my soldiers do not buckle or yield when faced with the cruelty of this world! My soldiers push forward! My soldiers scream out! My soldiers rage!
Did it, lads? We fucking won!
The Comeback War. I didn't hear no bell. 3032. I'm sure there are probably more names out there to this war, but you know, who's counting? Those are like the three that I know of. And all I know is that War 93 is going to be one of those that's going to go down in the Foxhole history books for the Wardens. And if you weren't around for this war and are curious as to the events of what made the hype of this war, well, come on in, take a seat. But first, I see a lot of you watch, but aren't hitting that big old red button, and well,
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
so do hit that like, subscribe button, comment below for the algorithm, you know, all that good stuff that like helps the channel. Now, War 93. To really break down the war and what caused, I guess, the epic comeback comes down to like a few factors. Granted, some of these factors, you know, are my opinion and might not be 100% the reason for the comeback for the Wardens. And I like to say that, you know, I was also primarily fighting out of the front lines in the south, not the north-ish areas. So, you know, the beginning of the war goes like any other early war, Foxhole. Rifles, mammon rushes, the ungodly hordes of collies that never seem to end, overpop. And, you know, the first few days or two felt pretty good for us. Like, morale was high, we were taking some ground, but things changed pretty quickly a few days in. Like, I noticed the northern regions were starting to get pushed back hard and losing territory. The middle region started doing the same, and the southern region started losing ground, and, you know, we were getting pushed back hard. And it got to the point where it seemed like we just lacked the manpower to hold our lines against the overpopulated colonials. And obviously, like, you know, there was a pop issue, which is a problem with this game at times. And with this, you know, I feel like we had a very huge, or not huge, but large influx of new players. And those new players, a lot of them joined the Warden side because of the overpop issue. And, you know, they were learning the game, so they were trying to figure out their way through it while getting zerged by the massive amount of colonials. And I also feel like a lot of these newer players were started off playing in the north versus like these southern regions, which I feel like had more vets. But, you know, I could be wrong because I didn't really fight in the north, so I don't know what regiments or veterans were up there. I know there were some, but I don't know who. So if you were one of them up north, you know, comment below saying you're fighting up there, you know. Yeah, but I believe due to all this, the Wardens, and, you know, I guess the Wardens were calling it quits a few days in, according to what I was told. A lot of people just, like, after the first few days of the early war, just stopped playing. Some took a break. Some people just don't play early war, so we I guess that was causing an issue too for us. And I feel like a lot of the veteran regiments had to start spreading themselves across the front lines to help support the newer players and, you know, keep what fronts we had stabilized alive. And just when, you know, we thought the war might be nearing an end, Colonials were holding 30 out of 32 VPs. The Wardens who held the line from day one we were just like, fuck it, let's have fun. We're holding the Colonials back at this point. So we like, let's launch some offensive operations, you know. And most of these operations, I feel like we're just like, you know, we might lose, we might as well have fun. Let's meme it up. Let's do some risky ops. And if they work, great. If they don't, well, there'll be the next war. So you had, you know, the historic Great White Whale of Jade Code operation that occurred, which I wasn't a part of, but there is a video on YouTube, I think under the name of Sickness, if I remember right. I'll put the link below. I'm sure I'll look it up after this. So there was that, which was very successful, and I feel like that's one of the bigger operations that really took the tide and flipped things around for the Warden morale. You know, the push back into Ashfields, Red River, Westgate, Basin, and there's multiple operations going on multiple fronts. And you know, I'm unsure if it was all coordinated or just the Warden weekend mentality. But once these like meme ops became real ops, like it boosted morale immediately. And this, for some reason, really turned the tides of this war. And players seemed like they were returning after they saw this. I also feel like once we started phasing out of the early war tech, more people came back, probably because, you know, people like tanks. A lot of people like tanking in Foxhole, so probably a lot of those Wardens were like, oh, well, they got tanks now, let's hop back in. And according to the Colonial side, from what I got from Reddit and other people, a lot of their numbers left because they thought the war was over when they were at 30-32. And they're like, well, we're just gonna come back a few days later for the next war. And then they did, and they realized that, oh, it's still the same war, and the Wardens have now taken so much ground. And these gains were quick, and that's really partially due to like the fact that the Colonials never built their backlines up, allowing the Wardens to easily come in and take over, so they had no defenses really. And, you know, certain areas though were hard fought, and they were fought over almost until the end, one being the Heartlands, like the Blemish area. Like that fortress was very well fortified, and then of course it had the wall, the bulwark, or whatever it's called, that's also helps a lot. And you know, you had other areas like Mousetrap, which were a bloodbath for days before it was overtaken. And you know, and I was unfortunately not around for the weekend due to work, so I didn't get to experience the massive ops that occurred to take the win for the Wardens this war. But either way, you know, I was fighting from day one to basically the end, and it was one hell of a war for the Wardens. And, you know, to the Colonials who fought from day one to the end, don't be discouraged. You know, bring that same tenacity to the next war. Don't quit on your buddies just because the war isn't in your favor. Like, I felt like a lot of the Wardens, even though we thought we were gonna lose, we were like, you know, let's just keep holding the line and keep pushing forward and keep morale as best we can. And look what happened. So, but you know, if you need a break from the game, that's fine. That's understandable. Take a break. It's a game. But anyways, let's rest up. We got a Relic War coming up real soon, and this is my first Relic War, so I'm kind of excited to see these relics on the battlefield. And you know, thanks for watching. I will see you guys on the front.
I love it when they send me the news. Had to make him nuts because his balls were blue. He didn't have a clue. He sliding in and out my ass like he's cleaning out gutters. Dick bigger than a stick of butter. Saw that big dick swinging up in the motherfucking hallway. He like me and my friends cause we're all gay. Okay. We like dick. I like his ass cause it's thick. He gon' fuck my butt till I shit and dick is dry, so I spit on the tip.
Fucking like and subscribe.